Welcome to Under the Hood, from Beyond the Bottom Line. This is where we step inside the company and talk through the real experiences behind the work. In today's episode, Miguel and Daniela talk about the lessons that have changed the way they work, lead, and think about the future. Here's Miguel.
Welcome to this very special episode of Beyond the Bottom Line, where our guest, my partner Daniela will be interviewing me this time. So Daniela, great to have you on, and feel free to just ask away.
Okay. So one question I was thinking of is, how would you handle being on a live client call? Let's say it's both of us and we have a disagreement. How would you handle it?
Yeah, that'd be an expensive call. You're right. So I would say if we had different points of view and it was clear, I think the number one goal is to not display that contrast to the client, because it's going to be, number one, it's going to be confusing for them because they're going to think there isn't a right answer. Number two, it might make them think that, we're not aligned. So I think number one, I wouldn't make that disagreement clear on the call at all. I think I would just be intensely curious to understand your perspective, but then maybe hint at the questions that might make something else true. So for example, if this was just an entity conversion, let's say it was complex, there's multiple entities and it was about consolidation and maybe I thought they shouldn't consolidate, I would just ask questions about the importance of are there legal reasons these should be different? Even though I know you already have a conclusion, and then I wouldn't have a conclusion at all on that call. I'd want to get with you after and then make sure that we're aligned in the recommendation going forward. But I really do believe that a lot of the good advisory isn't us telling clients what to do. Sometimes it's telling them what not to do. But I think it's really giving them the goalpost to make the same decisions. So if we're aligned on giving them the goalposts, whether they're on opposite sides, ultimately it's their call to make.
Yes, absolutely. And I'd even say often I like to use the client calls as a place to I don't need to give them the answer. We don't need to give them the answer on the call, right? And that we can use it more of exactly asking more questions, understanding what their goals are, and then we can kind of battle it out after the call and then come back with a recommendation. Yeah. All right, another one. So a big topic for accounting firms is burnout. I think we've all experienced it at some point. So I think I want to start with, when is the last time you experienced burnout and what did that look like for you?
Yeah, I think burnout really is a repetition of doing things you don't want to do at times you don't want to do them. So you can either control how repetitive that is, or you can control the time you want to do them. And in some cases, at least for me, I can control whether I do them or delegate them. So, I think the time that all of us who are tax partners or managers, it's during busy season. We've already reviewed 150 returns. I definitely don't want to review 151, no matter what time of the day it is. And I think for me, the thing that I can control is when in the day I work. We were talking about that earlier. I basically have the most amount of natural cortisol and optimism in the morning. So that's sense. The time. And I think the time that I burn out the most is when I force myself to work at night. And sometimes you have to do that. But really, if I can get myself to, even now, if I can get myself to go to bed earlier and wake up, even if it's at 4 a.m., something crazy like that. And then what I've been doing recently is that there's work I don't want to do that I know I have to do. And I've basically structured my schedule so I can get out of work, do a quick workout from 3 to 4. And then I come back to work in my gym shorts and I'll do whatever it is I was avoiding 4 to 5 because I just feel different. So yeah, I think I really do try to notice that, I think, with the team as well. And it takes a level of self-awareness that I think takes a lot of time. And I think sometimes the team just feels like we want them to always work all the time, work harder than they need to. So a lot of the times the coaching that I think we both try to do is all right, hey, let's either spread this out. Let's figure out if we can delegate some things. Let's figure out how to create some energy in your schedule. And, I think even back to tax season, we had one senior who her new thing was doing a HIT class at 8 a.m. and that just power charged the rest of every day. And I was fine. All right. We can switch our one-on-one which is at 9 my time, 8 her time. Why don't we switch it to the afternoon? So that way you can get back to the office, get your stuff done, and then we can talk later in the day.
Yeah, absolutely. What's a prediction you had early on that didn't work out?
It had to do with building certain software. I think for some of our clients, I kind of figured like QuickBooks, even Xero, a lot of these tools that are available are maybe too much for them if they had a small Schedule C. So I had this idea that we could develop internally our own software. And I think AI has just proven that AI is much easier to use than to build your own software. So, and I still see it in the accounting space where you've got an accountant that, gets some development budget and they're like, I'm going to solve a problem that I have and sell it to the other accountants. And now we've just found like, hey, they can solve it themselves with a Claude or a ChatGPT account.
Yeah, the whole world has changed and we're figuring out how to adapt. That's for sure.
Our Claudes need to talk to each other, I think is the punchline.
100%. And so if you were starting over now, you're how many years into firm life?
Firm life, 10 next year.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're almost 10.
Not as long as you. You started before I did.
Yeah, but my start was like I started and then I started again. No, but anyways, but you did the corporate route. I didn't engage. But if you were to start over, let's say you're starting a firm today, what would you do differently?
I mean, it's hard to not say that if I started a firm today, I would go solo as long as I could, and like build AI to do the things I didn't want to do. I don't know. I think I'm torn between like finding another partner with the same philosophy and doing like a 2-person firm. I think even being in a partnership now, it's very helpful to have another mind build that thing. I think that's what I would do. I think that's the answer. But, I think it's very tempting to think that we could just build a team of agents, but I'm suspicious of that. I think you need the human element. I think you need a tribe. So essentially I would just rebuild what we've built in an AI native way.
Yeah. And cleaner. Just sometimes that like fresh start feels like, it's a breath of fresh air to be like, actually, the way we're doing it is the way I'd want to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's true. I think I would try to have less software subscriptions though, for sure.
Figuring out how to log in and cancel it. If you could fast forward almost 10 years to when you were starting your firm, what's some advice you'd give yourself then?
I would just say that, I think every stage that you're at is important and special. I think, at least for me, a big part of my anxiety is that I'm always trying to bring the future to the present. And it's an anxious state, it's like, we have to do this. We have 10 things to build, we've got to solve for this. Looking back, I think every ceiling I hit was special in a way because it created some muscle that like I still use now. So I wish I would have appreciated like, wow, I'm glad I'm stuck at figuring out how to run a 3-person team, instead of just being like, we need to be a 5-person team. And I think like that just creates, I think a different perspective of presence that I'm trying to kind of keep with me now. Cause I kind of look back at some of these early days. I don't know if you do too. And I just think like, man, those were the good old days. Like me, Afton, like a few other early coworkers, Carla, like all being in the office at the same time during busy season, like the day before getting e-files out. I don't want to do it again, but I'm grateful for like that bond that we created.
Yeah. The thing is, those are the moments you remember, like I remember the moment with my first business partner over 10 years ago. We went to QuickBooks Connect like 2017 and we couldn't really afford it. So instead of getting the hotel, we got an Airbnb, which was a room in someone's house, which ended up being a trailer, like a mobile home. And it was like this, we shared this little bed and we looked up and we just saw the stars on the ceiling, like the glow in the dark stars. And we just were laughing hysterically of how ridiculous we were. But like, those are the moments you remember, and it's part of the story. And I also struggle a little between the wanting to be present and also wanting to think about the future, because I think if you didn't feel the pressure to have go from 3 to 5, then how would you get there? You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's important to be like, I'm exactly where I need to be right now, and that everything happening is learning.
That's right.
Yeah.